I had my eye on the idea of becoming a lawyer, so I went to law school and finished that and actually ran a fairly successful practice for a few years, but had some health problems. So I decided to go try something else, and I wound up selling art, became an art dealer. And I had hired an artist to do a job for a boutique hotel up in Santa Barbara. And this particular artist, about 2 weeks before the job was to be delivered, actually left town with the money, and we never heard from him again. Because this fellow and none others were available at the time, I wound up doing it myself. So from then on, I began to do a little work here and a little work there. I took another name because as a dealer, if you walk into an account and say it's my work, people really won't tell you the truth. They don't want to hurt your feelings. So I introduced the work under the name of Phillip Jaeger, which is my mother's name made masculine and the only brand of sweaters that I could wear when I came out from New York. 25 years later, that's where we are. What was the original inspiration for this stuff? I began to get very tired of hard-edged, flat lines on lines. So what I wanted to do was experiment with something that had a little more of a natural feel to it. And because I didn't have any real confidence in my ability to draw, I went out and got leaves and basically started to put leaves into artwork, but the real leaves. Now the press is an interesting bit of business because it's actually a fairly, I think, rare machine these days. I decided to use that press for purposes that it really was never created for, like the bark. And the bark is an interesting study because eucalyptus bark, as it comes off trees, people are unaware of the fact that it's actually almost, because it's got the same common materials as paper does, the pulp, it's the same cellular surface. All you're doing is basically crushing it in a way to make it usable in a paper process. So my idea was to take the material and make it into something that was flat and regular if need be to use on an art piece. My artwork has actually been all over the world. It's gone to spas in Japan. It's actually hanging over the desk in the Hotel General Lee in Beijing. It's in the presidential suite of the Golden Nugget. It's in 2 of the 3 wings of the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. And the other real highlight was the Tiger Woods saw some of my postcards from a distant love pieces that had Thai stamps on them, and actually some writing that was Thai that I had gotten off of paper, and he bought 6 of them for his house in Ponte Vedra. In a lot of ways, I feel a little bit like an imposter because nature's really done all the work here. I want people to feel like they've just gotten back from a beautiful walk on a spring day and their lungs are filled with fresh air and they're refreshed and they're calm and they're joyous because they've been out among the trees. And that's how I'd like people to think of the work.